Yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about. That's entirely what makes this character even cooler than he was in Mark of the Wolves. Hello, Goons. Hellpockets here, and it is 9:30 in the morning, Sunday, October 27th. Why am I up this early? I don't know. Honestly, I was sleeping perfectly. I was absolutely knocked out dreaming about nice things. But something was telling me, Pockets, you got to get up. There's something you need to see. And so I get up and I immediately check Twitter because I'm a fucking goon. And surely enough, the EVO France 2025 game lineup had been announced. That's a video for another time, though. But the most importantly is that Fatal Fury City of the Wolves is going to be making an appearance. I'm not sure for the first time ever, but for the first EVO ever, it's going to be appearing at EVO France in 2025. Very excited for that. But something else was revealed that caught us completely by surprise, and I say us because no one predicted this with any form of evidence or facts. They were definitely predicting with their hearts. I was one of them, but things kind of got thrown for a loop when Kim Dong Hwan got revealed for Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. Now, I know it's been a while because there hasn't been that much to actually look at from Fatal Fury City of the Wolves other than some game footage that came out last week. But I haven't been able to find the archive of that because they streamed it on the Steam platform. So unfortunately, a lot of that stuff is lost, to me at least. Hopefully that appears later on in a official release from SNK, please. Outside of that, I don't like to do these too often unless there's something very important to talk about. And I would say Kim Dong Hwan, for many reasons, is very important to talk about. But I want to give some thoughts on the character before I talk about what this means for the actual overall Fatal Fury City of the Wolves roster. Big implications, obviously. But first, let's have a look at this character. What's the Japanese version? Okay. Eiji Takochi. Dive kicks back, glove it. I talked about this earlier, obviously, on Twitter, but gonna try my best to look at this with an analytical eye instead of just being outright excited because all this stuff looks so cool. So many improvements. Glad that you can still TK the air super also. Oh, you can follow it up. Oh, baby. Let's go. I don't know how I missed it the first time, but I'm excited for that. What's the follow-up, baby? Oh, he's so cool, man. I'm so happy he got it, dude. And yes, he is my main in Mark of the Wolves. I'm not good at Mark of the Wolves, but he is my main. First thing I want to talk about is obviously the improvements from this character's appearance in Mark of the Wolves are very obvious. That's, of course, if you played Mark of the Wolves and you played him in Mark of the Wolves. But I'm extremely excited to see some of these quality of life improvements for Dong Hwan. This actually has great potential to change the way this character plays completely, in my opinion. I do think you can still play him the way you played him in Mark of the Wolves because it looks like a lot of those tools are going to be intact. But seeing as how they've improved those options here in City of the Wolves, yeah, man, very cool that he has ground options, man. It's revolutionary. I might be hyperbolizing a little bit. Is that a word? Hyperbolizing? Whatever. I'm hyperbolizing quite a bit here. But this is cool, man. This is really cool. Like, one of the things that you wanted to do in Mark of the Wolves is, like, use his high mobility to annoy, confuse the opponent. He had mixed-up options, but one of his greatest strengths, I believe, was the fact that guy could be anywhere on the screen at a high rate of speed. And that had a lot to do with just his toolkit. His dive kick definitely helped with that. Like, he could hit you at angles that not a lot of other characters could hit you at from range and from that specific angle. He also had the hyper jump, which I'm not entirely sure was represented in this trailer. That was, to me, kind of a big deal in the way he was able to move around the screen because he could cover bigger distances than the majority of the cast and still had an air option in order to change the trajectory of his jump. And You know me, I really like characters that can change the trajectories of their jump. So if hyper jump is not in this game, I think it's fine. Obviously, we're looking to be a little bit more engaged with this character and maybe not so much of a runaway character. And that's fine. I think that's awesome. I think, honestly, that's what's going to make this character more attractive to people who don't play this game like that, who didn't play Mark of the Wolves like that, right? It's obviously a much more straightforward approach that they're trying to apply for Kim Dong Hwan here. I'm all about it, dude. You know, I may enjoy him in Mark of the Wolves, but I absolutely love the fact that he's looking 100% more aggressive in City of the Wolves. Obviously, we have a newish move. I mentioned on Twitter that he has an air Raimazan. I feel like I said that wrong. Got the dive kick, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If that's the B version, that would explain why you get 5. I think the most I've ever gotten in Mark of the Wolves was 4 hits, and that's with the B version. Sometimes I can get that with the D dive kick as well, but now I can do 5 apparently. Maybe it's on big bodies only though, because that is Kevin Ryan. Also, shout out to seeing Kevin Ryan for the second time in this promotional life cycle. So here's the not brand new, but the newish move, the Air Raimazan. In Mark of the Wolves, this is kind of, at least to me, kind of a meme, because in Mark of the Wolves, it's actually punishable on hit. It's -1, I believe, and characters with 0 frame supers like Kevin can blow it up for free. Well, not for free, but for meter. In this case, I'm looking at it, and he does it pretty damn high here. And something I noticed watching the trailer earlier this morning. So you look at that, he hit him, and the Kevin is back in neutral. The Kevin is still zapped, but he's in his neutral stance. And I'm going to count. I don't know when it starts, though. Now, this is just my rough logic. This is my rough science here. There could be things going on here that I don't quite understand yet. Like, maybe the Kevin can't act because he's still zapped. Maybe it's a stun, and he's just literally locked in place. Or it could be the opposite. Maybe it's just a visual effect. They wanted to let it cook a little bit because maybe if it was too short in its lifespan, it wouldn't look the best visually. So they said, hey, let's just have the opponents be a little zapped for a little while, even though they can still move around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I would say between 12 and 13 frames recovery from that height of the Air Raimazan. Damn, that's really hard to say. Let's see. I think that's probably back. Yeah, maybe 14, honestly. My hope is that you can obviously get a better frame count doing the Air Raimazan a little lower. Or as low as possible, possibly. Maybe you can TK it even. That would be awesome. And maybe you might even be plus if you do it as low as possible. Or that you can cancel it from an air normal, which means you can jump in with a light or a heavy and then cancel that into the Air Raimazan, and it at least puts you not at a punishable deficit, you know, pushes the opponent out a little bit. And that's my #1 worry, is that if you can't do that at a lower altitude and get a better result frame recovery wise, then I don't know, man. I'm not sure that move is worth it at any altitude or at any point in the game. Maybe to close out, who knows. I don't think they show the Rev Art version of it, so hard to say if we're actually going to be seeing, like, you know, jump normal, Rev Art, Raimazan in the air. Maybe there's a Rev Art version of the dive kick that's safe on block, and then so you have your air string possibly, or you can even go into your air rev blow. I can assume, considering other characters and how they've transferred over into this game versus their Mark of the Wolves counterpart, having a lot, if not all, of the same things they had in Mark of the Wolves plus more, I would think the trend continues. So if he has that and it's safe on block, especially at a low altitude, then maybe Air Raimazan is not that bad of an option. So looking at that. All right, there's the stomp right there. One of my favorite moves in the whole game, honestly. The D stomp is plus as hell. Actually, the B stomp is even more plus on block. In Mark of the Wolves, the D stomp pops your opponent up vertically, And unless it's on counter hit, then they pop backwards. And so, yeah, you could probably do similar things. That looks like that's D right Maison from the ground. Most likely, what I would expect from players is if they hit the stomp, probably run up DP break, Rev Art DP break, Air Super possibly, or just regular or ADP. You can do that. Or you could do D right Maison, obviously. Or you could just do Air Super afterwards if you time it correctly. Not hard at all. But considering that the damage you get off of supers in this game is dramatically lower than you get in Mark of the Wolves, maybe that's not the best usage of your resources, in my opinion, but it's still a decent confirm. And here comes the Rev Art DP. And so I guess you could also Rev Excel that into, well, you see the Rev Excel into the Air Rev Blow there, but you can also Rev Excel that into Rev Art right Maison. I'm not sure what the air interaction would be. Maybe it'll cause ground bounce, but I don't think that's worth it from that air. This is cool as hell, by the way. Hold on a second. All right, so this right here, you see, this is crouching C. It's a great button. Every Kim player, every Kim Dong Hwan player knows this button. It's a great button. One of the biggest problems I had in Mark of the Wolves was the fact that there were very few options he had after this connected. The two that I can think of off the top of my head is feint cancel into sweep and then super cancel. Those are the only options that I remember that I've ever utilized for this character. They're not terrible, especially in the scope of the game. Good damage, good positioning, whatnot. But there was one thing that I wish he could always do from a standing position that would completely open up his game plan. But it was just not possible due to the fact that the attack was extremely limited in range. And so for those who don't know, I'm talking about the Ashibinta, the half circle back plus C flutter kick, which is honestly the most disrespectful maneuver I've seen from his repertoire. And he's definitely a disrespectful kind of character. But this right there, man, that right there, you cannot connect that from that distance with down C, with crouching C. You cannot connect that from that distance from crouching C. I don't know if in this game you're going to be able to do things like crouching C into normal version of that. I would almost guess you wouldn't, because they didn't even show the non-Rev Art version of Ashibinta in this game, in this trailer. The fact that you can Rev Art that from that distance, that is what completely opens up his ground game for me. That is what makes him a different kind of character right there. Because you see he gets the distance confirmed, and it's so, you got so much time. And you go into the Rev Excel. What does they call that? Hold on, let me look at the wiki real quick. Shiden Kyaku. The foot stomp right there. The Rev Art foot stomp. 1-2. Go into the Rev Blow. Does a push-up, getting out of it. Got to work on them pecs, brother. And before I forget to mention it, Dong can now combo, or at least seemingly combo, into Rev Art Shiden Kyaku. Obviously, the question is it still a low, or does it turn into a mid once it becomes a Rev Art? Another question would be, is it still plus on block? I'd imagine either way, this looks like one of those just do it moves. That was never a thing in Mark of the Wolves. I know it's the Rev Art version, but the fact that he has that tremendous upgrade. We see him do it again. Shiden Kyaku, excuse me. Ashibinta. Into Rev Art DP break into Air Super. Man, this is not possible in Mark of the Wolves. I gotta tell you guys. And we get the follow-up, don't we? Yes, we do. We do get the follow-up. So maybe he can do another super after that. I don't see why he wouldn't be able to. And we go from the down C into the Rev Art Ashibinta again. This one was a little closer though. But from this distance, you go straight into it because he steps all the way forward. Oh man, love that little slide that he throws in there right before the Ashibinta activates. And he goes into the follow-up, DP break, level 2 super. I'm a lot better than I used to be, admittedly. I think that the work that me and Abe and Gibby and Nocturnal have put in on the game, shout outs to Gibby and Nocturnal as usual for being me and Abe's senseis on this game, but the work we've put in has made me a lot more confident in the way I play the game and play the character, specifically Dong Hwan. I also play a little bit of a Terry, but I've been neglecting him for the last couple of months. But yeah, man, like coming from just that rudimentary point of view from the character, like, yeah, I gotta give it up to SNK. Beautifully done, man. Like, what an improvement from a character that, you know, you've only done once. You've only really worked with this character once. Some of these ideas had to have been kicking around the office for over a decade, 2 decades, man. Like, these are 20-year-old ideas. And one of the things that I think people should take away from this game, from this trailer especially, is that it's not insurmountable. This character looks mad easy to play. All the other characters in this game look mad easy to play. May not be mad easy to be good and beat people consistently, especially people who have had a history with Fatal Fury, Gar, Mark of the Wolves, and whatnot. How can you look at this and say, like, yeah, I don't think I can get a handle on this character. I don't know what he does. I don't know how to get damage. What are the buttons? You know, like, dude, they're putting it right front and center. I'm excited, y'all. I'm excited. I did not expect this to happen on a Sunday morning at 9 a.m. I don't know what time it was in France, but thanks. Shouts to France, man. Vive la France. But now, I gotta admit, Goons, like, I don't know where we go from here. Jae-hoon? This is a very important event, by the way, guys. Like, I mentioned at the beginning of the video that this does more than just get Dongmangs excited for Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. There were some predictions that myself, Meta Abe, Gibby, Nocturnal, everybody in the community, that they were utilizing based off of known information provided by SNK, either through discussions or trailers, whatever, right? We had somewhat of an idea of who was going to be in this game and how many characters were going to be in the base roster. So we got these 8 characters, right? We got Hotaru, we got Marco, we got Rock, we got Bijane, we got Terry, we've got Billy, we've got Vox, we've got Preacher. Those are the 8 characters they show us all the time on this splash page. And then we've got 4 other characters that they do not put on this. We got T-Zoc, we got Kevin Ryan, we got Mai now, and now we got Dom. That is 12 characters. There are 5 more spots left. Haven't heard anything from Kine. No Kine yet. That would be 13. Haven't heard anything from Joe or Andy yet. That would be 15. Haven't heard anything from Gato yet. That would be 16. And then number 17, Freeman, right? That's leaving out Jae-hoon. That's leaving out Hokutomaru. Now, do those 2 characters come in place of those two other characters that I just mentioned that we have somewhat confirmed are at least involved with the game? People have theorized since the first trailer for Fatal Fury City of the Wolves that Gato was in the game and that Hokutomaru was in the game in an older capacity. We've seen visuals, representations, official releases of Kine, Billy, Joe, and Andy being involved with the game in some format, and Billy Khan actually in the game. I call him Billy Khan. Billy Kane actually in the game as a playable character. So we can assume that the other characters who were represented, like Billy was in the key art for Rock, are also going to appear in the game as part of the base roster, I would imagine. That seems to be the theme going on here. Now, we don't have anything to literally hammer that in, confirm it. It's not written in stone, but the trend has already been started. That aside, when you put Dong Hwan in the game, people are going to obviously assume that the other brother, Jae-hoon, is going to appear. That's a spot gone from one of the characters that we have already pretty much confirmed will be in the game in some format. Not sure on base roster, not sure on DLC, but they appear in the official advertisement. Yeah, bracket busted, guys. I don't know what to think anymore. I did think that if the brothers were going to be in, maybe they would come in as DLC, but it appears that SNK is looking to do bigger things with DLC than necessarily including legacy characters from Mark of the Wolves. When you put out Ken and Chun-Li first, I gotta be honest, man, we are starting heavy. We're starting with guest characters in the DLC pack. Now you need to match that energy. Summer 2025, 2 characters are coming out. Ken is one of them, quite possibly the next. I don't know, Ronaldo? Geese? Would Geese also? I don't think if Geese is in the game, I think he deserves like a wide berth. I think that's the dude that drops in like early 2026. Joe and Andy cannot be DLC for this game. I would be fine with that. Me and Abe would be fine with that. I'm sure KOF players would be fine with it. But I also feel like that's something that you would say, that you would include in the base roster. Shoot, Yamazaki would do numbers in DLC. Oh boy, man, Dong Hwan, I'm excited to see him. But this complicates things quite a bit. I was already super in on Preacha and hopefully Joe. But now my boy has joined the roster. I'm super in there, folks. Cannot wait.
Goons, City of the Wolves.